I made $100,000 in a month, and no, it's not clickbait. Maybe it's clickbait. Kinda. I'm kidding. It's definitely not. To be more specific, it's how I made $100,000 in revenue in a month. That's definitely not clickbait. Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Chris Mo. If you don't know me, I do $1 to $2 million in construction sales, got a 6-figure income, some passive investments, and I love business. You see, I make these videos so I can document my life towards becoming a millionaire, and hopefully this can inspire others to start their own journey. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I managed to bring in over $100,000 in revenue in 1 month through sales. And no, this is not the first time that I've done this. I've actually been able to do this several times, and that's because I figured out this secret formula. And I'll be sharing with you this exact 3-step formula. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's go back in time for a little bit. So as you may or may not know, I've been in the construction industry for a little bit over 3 years now. And my role in the company is to sell high-ticket construction services in Los Angeles. Crazy part of all of this is that before I found this gig, I was like most people. I was going down the traditional path. Go to college, get a degree, get a job, and maybe make 6 figures. A little after a year of just being in this industry, I broke 6 figures and I managed to bring in over $1 million in revenue. And since then, I have completely fallen in love with the business. I can honestly say that I love what I do. I wouldn't see myself doing anything else besides this YouTube channel, obviously. Either way, through this business, I have managed to 360 my whole entire life, and life could not have been better. But it wasn't always like this. It wasn't all rainbows and butterflies at one point. The complete opposite, really. You see, in my industry, the retention rate of a new salesman coming into the business is less than 10%. Why? Because it's hard. I've been in many sales classes with groups of 5 or 10, but at the end of training or 3 months into the real work, only 1 or 2 reps stick around. Why? Again, because it's hard. This job at times can be mentally draining. It's exhausting at times, and not everyone is cut out for it. The main problem that I believe causes people to quit is because of money. You see, I'm on a commission-only pay scale, meaning if I don't sell, I don't get paid. So if you got bills that are due and you didn't make a sale, good luck, buddy. That doesn't take into account the mental stress that you put on yourself when you're in a rut and you're not making a sale. I've been there. Before I was bringing in $1 million in revenue over a year, I was like most salesmen. I was average. I was bringing in anywhere from $300,000 to $600,000 a year. And that's average in my industry. I was average at one point, until I figured out this secret formula. This formula is the reason why I was able to bring in over $100,000 in revenue and break 6 figures. And the formula consists of 3 things, really. The first being routine. I'm a big believer in routine, doing the same thing over and over again until you can't get it wrong. It took me a while for me to develop my morning routine. At first, I was like most people, just kind of going through my days and just guessing on what things I had to get done for that day. It wasn't until I started writing things down that I started to make great progress. Routines are important to me because they keep me on task, and they also keep me what I like to call warmed up. In my industry, and this can be applied to several other industries as well, when you don't practice for a while or you don't practice daily, your mind will forget what it has to do. It's almost like a muscle, right? It takes time to develop, and once we develop it, we have to keep on working on it in order to maintain it. And if we don't maintain it, we can lose it. And the harder you work on it, the bigger and better it gets. Personally, I have developed a morning routine that has allowed me to bring in 6 figures a month. And ever since I started following this morning routine, I have been able to increase my closing ratio in my job. Now, my morning routine is made specifically for me, and you don't have to follow it. You can create whatever works for yourself. But here's mine in a quick recap. I wake up at 6 in the morning, I go to the gym, I shower, I meditate, I write down what I have to do for the day, and then I practice my pitch before I go out the door. I do all of that before 9 a.m. I do that every single day. When I do that every single day, I increase my energy and I get my mind ready for the day by doing so much. But by pitching myself before going into my appointments, I have already caused my mind to get ready to make a sale. But I don't want to go too deep into my morning routine. I'll probably make a video of that later down the road. The point is that you want to consistently be working every single day to be better. And the only way to do that is by consistent practice. The second part of the formula is trusting the system. Now, for every type of sales, there's a formula that you have to follow from A through Z in order to increase your chances of closing that deal. In my industry, there's a formula that I have to follow in order to increase my chances of selling. I have gone through many sales classes where I see the new guy thinking he can outthink the formula. And it's probably because he got a sale not following the formula, and he thinks he found a better way to do things. And yeah, maybe it'll work every now and then, because that's the reason why the retention rate is so low. That's the reason many salespeople quit and don't don't make a sale, because eventually it stops working, and then they're trying to figure out why they're not making a sale. I honestly believe that I'm not the best salesman in the world, but I don't suck. The reason I don't suck is because I follow the system. In all my years of selling, following the system has allowed me to increase my chances of closing a deal. The problem with us salesmen is that sometimes we go in a rut and we start to blame everything and anything on why we're not making a sale. And we start to get lazy and we think it's the end of the world, and we start looking at other jobs and we think we can't do this any longer. It happens to the best of us all the time. But through the many years that I've been doing this, I have noticed that when you practice every day and you stick to the formula and you trust the system, you will always increase your chances of closing. I'm only good at my job because I follow the system. Those that don't believe in the system eventually end up failing. Brings me to the last point. Belief. Honestly, I can give you all the secrets to life, business, sales, and every aspect of life. But without belief, it's pointless. Some people may think that this is a little cringy because you see all these self-improvement gurus telling you to believe and everything would just work out, which is true. But that's the reason why I put it last. You have to practice, which comes with routine. You have to follow a system. And lastly, you have to believe. I've been there where I was in a rut and I just couldn't get out of my head. I started blaming everyone and everything, causing disbelief in myself and the system. And instantly, when I reminded myself of this 3-step formula and I go back into it and I really start believing in myself, I get the best outcomes. There's a quote by Henry Ford that explains it in the best possible way. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And this applies to everything in life. A lot of what we go through requires belief. Let's take this channel for example. I don't know whether it's going to work or not because I can't predict the future. It's a possibility that it might not work, but I choose to believe that it is going to work. And that's how I handle a lot of my sales appointments. I go in there believing that I'm going to close the deal. I don't go in there with any negative beliefs. And that's how I managed to have $100,000 months. And it's tough. Don't get me wrong. It's hard to follow routine. It's hard to be disciplined. It's hard to follow the system. It's hard to believe, but we all know that the hard things in life are what makes us great. This system is what I do every single day to increase my chances of getting a deal. There's no other magic formula besides doing the hard stuff. So if you like this video, you found some value, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.